Previously on the TJ Chatman Show.
What's happening, family? It's your main man, TJ Chatman, man. We're back with another episode, man. I'm glad you guys were able to join us. One of our discussions that we're going to talk about today is as parents, people become very judgmental when it comes to certain things. Whether you're a bad parent if you let this happen, if you're a bad parent if you let that happen. When should you talk about, birds and the bees to your kids? If you have, both a daughter and a son, who do you put more emphasis on when it comes to talking about birds and the bees? And then of course, we sipping on this drink. Do it make you a bad parent? If you give your child a sip of your liquor? Introduce our panel for tonight, starting from my immediate left. Go and tell the people who you are.
Hi, my name is Sonia. I'm the owner of SBK. I don't have kids, but I'm here for this subject matter.
We got to talk about this one, yeah. All right.
No, we'll go.
Oh, we'll go down. Okay.
Go to my man right here.
How's it going? My name is Bryant. I am the founder of Sophisticated Arrogance, which is a men's lifestyle blog and an author of 3 fiction novels. I have children. I have a teenage daughter that is 16 going on 30, and I have a 12-year-old son.
Oh, man. Okay. All right.
And y'all should know me by now. It's your man Rodney from Man Listen, right here, Culture Radio. You know I'm at home.
We'll talk about our sponsors for tonight. We got Tre'Bella Cigars. Man, look, she got some of the finest, flavorful, infused cigars that I've ever had. And I'm not a smoker, but when I do, I got to grab me a Tre'Bella because it makes my palate explore a whole new world. So definitely appreciate Tre'Bella Cigars for being one of our proud sponsors, and also our new sponsor, Scorpion's Hemp World. Enter into a world where you'll be blazed. Don't tell I said it, but tell I sent you. But yeah, go ahead and check them out. Scorpion Hemp World. We appreciate you being a new sponsor for the TJ Chatman Show. And speaking of goodies, Sonia.
Yes.
What goodies you done bought us today?
I have to bring something now.
What's these?
So it's our newest product line that we're carrying. We're bringing in our Christmas items, and that is one of the brands that we picked up. So that is something we definitely have to try.
I'm gonna crack this bad boy open.
Here for testing.
Oh yeah, we got time. I'm gonna go ahead and
feedback. Time for testing.
this is a mighty large pecan.
Let's say cinnamon whiskey.
Yes,
exactly.
Pecans.
Yeah, it's going to pass the rind. I'm gonna take a
while we sip.
Vegan, gluten-free, non-GMO.
Okay.
And you bought Mabel.
Yeah. A little bit. Yeah, so it's always good to test out the items. How are they?
Good.
Like this?
This is dope. Wow.
Okay.
Listen.
So they're a keeper then.
Absolutely. Tell them how they can find it. I'm gonna let them know how they can find it.
You can find these amazing items on our website at www. They're a hit.
They're a hit. Yes, sir. My.
.sbcreations.com. You must visit us for the holiday season. We fit all your gifting needs. So. That
is amazing. We got one other. Doesn't make you a bad parent if you offer or you let your child have a sip of your alcoholic drink. And some of the comments, man, has been quite interesting. And I didn't think it was going to get that bad to a point where people start judging one another. And I'm like, who are you to start saying who's a bad parent and who's not? So, Ryan, I'm gonna start with you. Does it make you a bad parent if you let your child experiment alcohol?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
You know what? Here's my thing about parenting. We allow so many people to tell us what a good and a bad parent is. We from society, there's even laws to tell you what you should do as a parent. But one thing I say, and it comes from relationships, your relationships are your own.
Yeah.
So the relationship you have with your children is your relationship that you have with your children. It doesn't have to mimic anybody. It don't have to. That doesn't make you a bad parent. Not at all. Now, if you are that type of person to where you want, I put it like this. I'm gonna speak for self. I want my children to experience things with me before they experience it with the world. That's period. So if
turn your mic on. I think can I hear you?
I'm on. I think I'm on.
You're good.
I'm on.
Okay.
Okay. So no, I want them to experience it with me before they experience it with the world. Because if your kids gonna drink, they gonna drink.
Yeah.
Would you rather them drink with mom and dad, or would you rather them drink
In the streets.
with Tim and Ray on the block? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I always want my children, when they have that interest, if they're thinking about doing something, I want them to experience it with me, or at least bring it to me first. One of those type of parents that try to hide that type of stuff from your kids, by the time you find out they doing it, they've already been 2-3 years in the game.
Well, I don't have any interest in the story because my kids don't drink, and as far as I know, at this point, they don't have any interest in it. But I do agree with him. It's giving a kid a drink is a small sample size of what you do as a parent. Like, how can you be a bad parent because you gave your child a drink, right? There's a whole bigger perspective on what you're doing as a parent to determine whether you're a bad parent or not. I know when I was a kid and we were sick, my parents would give me hottie toddies.
Thank you.
Hey,
That's right.
used to rub the gums with
Right.
little whiskey.
I mean, I'm still drinking it. Listen.
and I think it's all about discretion. Like you're not gonna be there having shots with your 6-year-old. Like, come on.
So I don't have children, but I feel as though my brother gave us enough children for me to help raise.
Gave
So
enough to
I'm
help.
a
Auntie, big auntie,
exactly,
big
parent
auntie
by
energy
default.
right now.
Yes, probably why I don't have them. But at the same time, that was standard. Not to drink in the household as a kid, but those island traditions came through where you just put a little rum on the gums and that soothed.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think it's a problem. And I think also it plays out into the fact of just other countries and things like that. They experiment with different things to where their children, when they get to a certain point, guess what? They're not so intrigued to do those things because it's already been brought in the household. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not taboo. I think we make things taboo, and that's where it becomes a problem and forbidden. So then your child wants to entertain those things. But if you've already had a little swig in the house and mom and dad kind of were okay with that, and it's less likely that you're wanting to go out with your friends and make a big deal and get drunk and things happen after that.
So it's like sometimes kids are going to be curious.
Right.
What Daddy, what's that in your cup?
Mm-hmm.
It's an adult drink. Well, what type of adult drink? Why can't kids have it?
You can have it.
I used to be like,
Right.
I didn't know what to say, but now it's like, if my kids, ask me what's that, say this liquor.
Mm-hmm.
You want to try some? No.
Nope.
I don't want to try it. Okay.
Opportunity for you to educate your children, especially if you're a drinker.
Yeah.
Right? I can understand if you're not a drinker, then it's probably an uncomfortable conversation to have with kids about alcohol and drinking and having them try a drink. But if you're a drinker, I think you should, because you know a lot about alcohol to be able to explain to your children, okay, this is how you drink responsibly, if this is something that you choose to do. But like you said, most children think alcohol is nasty. So you give them
the thing
You
about
dated an island girl.
you grew up in the islands.
Yeah.
That too, facts.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that it's a little mix of both. But my father was the one that he would give us a little swig of rum until it got to a point. I feel like when we got older, he got stricter with it. So, which was weird. But I think it also sets the tone. If you have those instances where you allow your child to have a little swig, or it's New Year's, you let them have a little champagne. Again, like I said, it doesn't make it so taboo, but it plays out into life of other things. That if you keep those boundaries and you make it taboo, then I don't want to talk to you about other things.
Right.
So it's kind of like the pipeline to start where you don't want to talk about other things. And I think that, yeah, it may be uncomfortable for you as a parent. You wonder, oh my gosh, this or that. But as now you're older and we're grown, it's like, I wish my father would have had a conversation about, if you get drunk or you go out to a party, this is who you call, or this or that. Those conversations can be started when you kind of, I'm not saying encouraging, like, make your children drink.
Right.
But I think it's the precursor to other things.
Don't be like, some parents where they shield you off from talking about certain things. You don't need to know nothing about that right now. Or
we don't want to talk about it.
They don't want to talk about it.
It's not the children, it's us.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about it.
Because you're uncomfortable and haven't dealt with you.
Having that conversation about it, and then you go off to finally college, And now you're out there by yourself, and you're like, holy shit, my parents ain't taught me nothing. That's the reason why I came to you, ask you, hey, this, and this. So parents, just be okay, be comfortable with, hey, you're gonna have to have that conversation sometime. Brian, you have kids, both daughter and a son. They're within that age right now that they can start hunching.
Not.
Yeah, you know I'm old school. You know I'm old school. You know I'm old school.
He old school. He saying hunching. We still hunching.
You know what I'm talking about.
We are not. We are not.
Interesting about that, and I'll say this: it is a different conversation with my kids, and it's not because of gender; it's because of age.
Right.
So the conversation I'm gonna have with my 16-year-old daughter is going to be different than the conversation I have with my 12-year-old son. Because with my 16-year-old daughter, we're going to get a lot more detailed because there's a lot more consequences involved because of her age and the freedom that she has to go out and do these things, such as getting pregnant and having a kid at a young age. But my son is 12, so it's more about anatomy thing, explaining what sex is and how it works. But with my daughter, it'll be more of explaining that, but just the risk of it and about user protection and things of that.
I'm sorry. There are certain signals that are given that I think you should pay attention to, and those are important. Certain cues to pay attention, and I think for me, it was my oldest brother having amazing women. Well, when he was dating someone. And I went to them because I felt that comfort level, that sisterhood. So I asked them and they gave me guidance. But hindsight looking back, I wish I could have had, he taught me so many other things. He taught me how to be brave, strong, what type of man to choose on certain things. He taught me all those things, but you didn't teach me how, a man's perspective on certain things, and dealing with a man and certain things. It's like I needed that. So
I'm gonna ask the gentleman panel. Okay, you have a couple of kids, girls, boys, whatnot. When you get ready to ask that question about the birds and the bees, is it the same level of conversation that you have, or is it different? Like, do you find out that your son lost his virginity? Like, do you get hard on him versus you find out that your daughter done lost her virginity? Now it's like, you scolding her. So at what point are they equal, or are they equal when it comes to that conversation?
I don't know. I think my parenting style is more open, right? I'm considered the fun parent. Like mom is considered the disciplinary, and I'm the fun parent.
Okay.
I'm the one that they'll go to. So I think in that case, if my daughter was to become sexually active, she would come to me way before she would come to her mother. Because one, she know I wouldn't tell her mother. And then two, she knows that I would try to give her advice because I'm realistic. Yeah, you're going to have sex.
That's the part right there. You're going to have it, whether I tell you don't go out and have it.
Right.
Am I going to be disappointed that she had sex before 18? No, because I had sex before 18. I'm not going to be disappointed. Who was I having sex with? A girl that was under 18. So I'm being realistic about it. I just want her to make better decisions in the men that she deals with. It's not about having sex, but who are you having sex with?
Because it's going to happen.
That's really the important thing for me. You know, you're not just out there like, okay, sex is fun. I'm having sex with everybody. No, like I'm going to teach you if you're going to have sex, then you need to be able to vet the boys properly that you're dealing with, because I don't want you in a situation where you have a bad reputation because you're dealing with this and that person.
This and that,
You get pregnant early, due to a bad circumstance. I want you to be in control of your sexuality.
I have not talked to my children about sex. I didn't sit down and give them the birds and the bees talk. I didn't have to. They see it. It's there. It's on the YouTubes they watch. It's on the Netflix shows they watch. It's on the discussions they having in schools. It's everywhere. They see it. What I do is tell them the consequences. Oh, these are your consequences. If you do this, this is what could happen. You could get pregnant. You could get somebody pregnant for my sons. You can get a disease. Protect yourself. I can't regulate what you do because I'm not with you 24/7. But if you're going to do anything, learn the ins and outs of it and then protect yourself accordingly.
So when it comes to having a religious parents saying, don't have sex before you're married, don't do this, I better not catch you doing that. Do you guys think that when you tell a child, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, that's going to make them, you know what? I want to find out why, and never have that conversation as to why you shouldn't have sex other than throwing religion out there saying the Bible say don't have sex. I'm still trying to find out what has sex.
I'll tell you an interesting story about that, because there was a girl that I grew up with, and she was Muslim. She grew up Muslim, in the Muslim faith. But she lived in the neighborhood with us, in the hood with us, you know. And she would try to come out and do the things that we would do, hang out with us and play with us and stuff like that. But her parents were really strict. You know, like, you can't be outside, you can't talk with boys, you can't do none of this stuff. Meanwhile, she's in the school with all of us and seeing us doing things that she can't do. So as she got older, she started to rebel, you know, because she's like, you know, I want to do what my friends are doing, you know. And because they were so strict and protective and sheltered of her, it got to the point where as an adult, she abandoned her whole religion and just went buck wild and just started doing what she wanted to do.
Wow.
Had like 3 kids by the age 21. And I think that could have been prevented if her parents, and I get it, it's their faith, but if they were cognizant of the environment that she was in and the people that she was around, and at least try to prepare her for that. They felt that, you know, their faith would like protect her. And the outside influences are just too great. And as a parent, you have to understand that, you know, the environments, the streets will teach your kids too. So you got to teach your kids about the streets.
And that's the part about it. Like, as a parent, do you want to be the one to teach them, or do you want the streets to teach them? Because as a parent, some parents be like, "Oh, my baby will never do that. Oh, you lying? My baby ain't did nothing. My baby ain't did such thing. Use the
really
tail.
seen your baby.
Be like, use the tail." And then in the back of your mind is like, you really don't know your child, do you?
Right, at all.
It's like,
we have to get out of the mentality that our kids are going to have the belief that we have. Like, we were raised under a certain religion, so as adults we practice the religion we were raised under. However, that's not going to be the case for everybody. There's some people that does take up the religion they were raised under and they keep it going.
They keep some of the foundations, and
you see a lot in the Muslim communities. Like, they will pick up that religion and they'll keep moving forward with that. But like you said, outside world, you know, I can teach you how I live based on my beliefs, but my job is to teach you to have your own beliefs. So then if you're willing to accept my religion and to live by those guidelines, then that's a choice that you make, not because I force you to do it.
Mama, don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me, but I'm all right, so I'm gonna be realistic, okay? I tell my mama this all the time. She still tell me to go sit my behind down somewhere. You don't know what you're talking about. So everybody knows Jesus died on the cross, okay? And I just asked, like, you know, I read it in the Bible. I heard all the descriptions in the Bible. Mama, that sounds like murder. You get whooped. Bam. He got whooped. He got stabbed. Got whooped again. Put the crowns on his head, and they whooped him again, and then put some more nails in his feet. That sounds like torture. What you think crucifixion was back in the day?
It was
murder. So I'm just kind of like, sit your behind down. He died for our sins. Okay, but he was murdered. So then I turned it, and I was like, so he committed suicide because he could have got up off the cross. He allowed that to happen, and today's society, that's called suicide.
Go get your switch. Go back there and put it on you want. So
I mean, like, cause when you said like he died for our sins, so he committed suicide. So before we get out of here, go ahead and tell everybody how they can follow you on social media platforms. If you got any things that's coming up, you know, some of y'all know you're gonna be, you know, with a couple events, you know, vending, and especially these right here, these whiskey pecans. These things are good, and I got what happened to the they're over there somewhere. Bam, they're over there. So listen, those things are good too. So but yeah, how can they follow you?
Yes, so you can follow us at SVK_2K, or you can visit our website at www.svk_2k.com. svcreations.com, or you can come to these amazing events this month that they all have lined up, and you'll see us there as well.
Wow. B, what you got?
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at sophisticated.arrogance.
Nice. And of course, the man of the hour. Every
Monday. The _Superman_1914. And make sure you guys tune in to Man Listen podcast right here at Culture Radio every Monday.